Before we get into the latest draft rumors, quick reminder, we're going to be live here on the channel for the first round of the NFL draft. So you can go watch the ESPN coverage and listen to them tell really sad stories about the players during the greatest moment of their life to this point. Or you can watch with us and actually get pick-by-pick analysis and breakdown. So if you'll be there, drop a DEN in the comment section. When I woke up this morning, I knew exactly what we would be talking about today, which was Peyton Manning talked about J.J. McCarthy on a Broncos radio station or Denver radio station covering the Broncos. And I want to share with you all what Peyton had to say and whether or not he may be just forecasting or just giving his own opinion. But here's what Manning said. I know Denver is very interested in him, and it sounded like a place he'd love to come to, but it's a little bit out of his control. All on J.J. McCarthy. The first question I have after hearing that was, does Peyton know something? Or is Peyton Manning just being one of the guys? And he's just saying what we're all sort of already knowing at this point, which is, yeah, I'm sure Denver does like J.J. McCarthy. The Broncos need a quarterback. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah tweeted out yesterday, name a team that has a bigger need than the Saints for offensive tackle. And I replied to it with, I've got one. How about the Broncos quarterback battle of Jarrett Stidham versus Zach Wilson versus Ben DiNucci? I could make a very good argument. No team has a bigger need than Denver does at quarterback. So is Peyton sharing something that he knows, or is he just putting out his own personal opinion and just joining the, talking heads of the world? I think it's probably the latter. I'm sure Denver would love to get J.J. McCarthy, but there is a long list of teams that are looking for a quarterback, and I think the Broncos are towards the bottom of the list when it comes to resources to acquire one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. If Denver's got a shot at getting a quarterback, I think it's that the Patriots pass on a quarterback altogether. Let's say New England comes out of all their scouting meetings and all their pre-draft prep, and they decide, we really like Bo Nix and Michael Penix, so we could get a king's ransom for pick number 3, stockpile more picks, and go get Nix or Penix later on in the draft. I don't think that's very likely, but I think that's Denver's only chance of getting one of the top 4 quarterbacks. I mean, look at the NFL draft order one more time for a second. We know the Bears and Commanders are going quarterback. So then it becomes, what does New England do? Do they stay put at number 3 and take Drake May, who appears to be the favorite to get past the Commanders at 2, as they are locked in on Jaden Daniels? And if New England doesn't want Drake May, that's when Pandora's box could open up. Now, again, this is all like if. If the Patriots pass on Drake May and they don't like him and they don't want to use the 3rd overall pick on Marvin Harrison, they would rather get more draft assets, I think you could see the Vikings be the team that trades up first. They really like Drake May. They really like J.J. McCarthy. I could see Minnesota offering picks 11, 23, and a 3rd-round pick next year to jump from 11 to 3. So that's one possible trade. And if that trade were to go down, well, all of a sudden, the Vikings are now picking at number 3. They go Drake May, most likely, or J.J. McCarthy, but I think it would be May. And now the Cardinals are on the clock at pick number 4. And Arizona has been very public that they are open to business when it comes to pick number 4. And that's an avenue where Denver could move up and get either May or McCarthy, whoever Minnesota passes on at pick number 3. I think it would cost 2 future first-round picks. I almost wanted to make that 2026 a second-rounder, but I go back to what the Niners had to give up to go from exactly the same spots, 12 to, 3 actually, sorry, almost the same spots, and that was 2 future firsts and a 3rd-round pick. So going from 12 to 4, not as big of a jump as 12 to 3, so I took out the 3rd-round pick, and it's just 2 future firsts and a pick swap this year. Now, I just want to say on the record right now, I would not do this trade if I were the Broncos. One, I think it's worth adding. I don't think it's very likely that all these perfect dominoes are going to fall in Denver's favor, but I am not in the camp of trade 2 future first rounders to move up and get J.J. McCarthy. Do not let desperation cloud your judgment. J.J. McCarthy has shown us a lot of good things on his tape. But the issue is that tape, it's not very long. This is not a huge catalog of plays you can look at. If you want to go find a play of J.J. McCarthy making a nice throw on 3rd and 10, that exists, but not in a great volume. There's not a whole lot of cuts we have. There's not a whole lot of tape on J.J. McCarthy in the red zone where you have to be automatic because they just handed the ball off to Blake Corum every time. And why wouldn't they? It worked. He scored like 20 touchdowns. But my issue is I just haven't seen enough from J.J. McCarthy to know this is a guy that can execute all the throws you need to make to give up 2 future first-round picks. Could J.J. McCarthy become that guy? Possibly. But I'm not willing to gamble 2 future firsts on someone that threw the ball 18 times in the national championship game for 140 yards and no touchdowns. Like, the lights were the brightest, and Michigan just didn't need him. So, for that reason, I'm out. Now, I'll turn it over to you. If this was an option, would you do this trade? If the Patriots were not interested in getting a quarterback, they like Bo Nix, they like Michael Penix, whatever it may be, and they want to get a bunch of draft picks, would you give up 2 future firsts to jump from 12 to 4? I'm typing N for no, but please get in the comment section and let me know what you think. Now, if you want my prediction on what tomorrow's going to look like, I think this is going to be your top 10. The Bears and Commanders stay put. I think the Patriots are going to stay at 3 and take Drake May. I think the Vikings are going to make a deal with the Cardinals, and they'll jump up to 4. And then I think we'll see the Cardinals repeat what they did last year, which was trade back and then trade back up again because the Chargers really want to trade out of number 5. They want to get more picks because they want to go offensive line, and there are a lot of really good offensive linemen in round 1 this year. So I could see Arizona getting Marvin Harrison and getting maybe more draft capital via the Minnesota Vikings. Giants stay put at 6, and they go Malik Neighbors. But if JJ's there, I could easily see New York taking him. Titans stay put at 7, go Joe Alt. Atlanta takes Turner at 8. The Bears, I believe, are going to go Rome Odunze. There's been some subtle rumors of Byron Murphy. I think that's more smoke than reality. And then I've got the Colts jumping up with the Jets. The Jets do not have a second-round pick this year because of the Aaron Rodgers trade. Indianapolis, worst-kept secret in the NFL, really likes Brock Bowers. So I could see Indy giving up their second to move up 5-6 spots to get Brock Bowers at number 10 before a handful of teams that are interested in Bowers come between them and where they're originally scheduled to pick. Now, next up on the show, we're going to talk about the inverse of what we spent the first 6-7 minutes of today's video, which is Denver trading down from number 12, right? Moving back in the draft and getting more draft capital. But really quickly, I do want to shout out our sponsor today, which is Game Time. If you want to go catch a playoff Nuggets game, a playoff Avs game, a Rockies game, or any other local sporting event, make sure to check out Game Time first because they've got an awesome deal for Broncos country where you can get $20 off your first purchase when you download the Game Time app. Now, what I love about Game Time is I like to plan ahead, but not all my friends are in the same bucket. So if you have a significant other that likes to plan things at the last moment, Game Time has awesome deals right up to the start of the event and even after the event kicks off. So download the Game Time app and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, redeem that code CHAT SPORTS for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Game Time. Best place for last-minute tickets with the lowest price guarantee. So let's talk about Denver trading down. Could they get more capital to use in the draft? They currently have 8 picks in the upcoming NFL draft. Their draft capital ranks 21st. The way some of the nerds compute this number is they assign a number value to every single pick of the 257 selections in the draft, and you add up all the value that the Broncos have, and it turns out to be 21st in the NFL. Now, a lot of insiders, and we'll share their reports in just a moment, believe that the Broncos are going to try to move out of pick number 12. And I buy it. Whether that's going up or whether that's going down, I think Denver is not going to make a pick at number 12. Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated, he had this to say: Denver has done its homework on the draft class. They hosted Penix on a 30 visit and traveled to Michigan to work out J.J. McCarthy, but has other needs to address and no second-round pick. So while Denver sniffed around on trading up, they've also made calls on moving down. How about this from Jonathan Jones at CBS Sports? The team I feel most comfortable won't be picking where they currently sit are the Denver Broncos. I have heard from multiple teams in the top 10 the Broncos have inquired about a trade-up. Have also heard from teams picking after 12 the Broncos have discussed an appetite for trading down. And then there's a huge drop-off between the first two reporters and Sportskedia's Tony Pauline. But he said, as of Tuesday afternoon, I'm told the Eagles are speaking with the Denver Broncos about trading for the 12th selection so they can draft the Toledo cornerback. The Broncos, in turn, would receive the Eagles' pick in the first round, 22nd, which they would use to draft quarterback Bo Nix. I'm not on board with the way Tony Pauline landed that plane, but I could see a world where Philadelphia and Denver make a swap from 22 to 12, and the Broncos pick up one of Philly's 2 second-round picks. I fully expect Denver to trade pick number 12. I'll honestly be surprised if they end up picking at number 12. If an avenue opens up where they can move up in the draft, I expect them to pounce at it. If that opportunity does not present itself, I expect them to trade back, get a second-rounder, use that second-rounder either on a quarterback if they think Bo Nix or Michael Penix will be there, or they may do the opposite of what I spent a lot of time talking, which was the Broncos would go like best player available in round 1, quarterback in round 2. They may flip-flop it. They may go Nix or Penix with their later first-round pick, and then in round 2, that's where they go with a corner, an edge rusher, a lineman, just whatever you want, but they may wait till round 2 to address that other multiple list of needs they have on their roster. So I think it's worth noting that they've only got 2 picks in the top 100. This team is not just the 12th pick away from really starting to turn things around. I think it is in Denver's best interest to try and find a trade partner. They may not be successful, but I think they should make a really big effort to do so. Now, ESPN put out 4 teams they are hearing that are trying to trade up in the draft. The Indianapolis Colts, we talked about earlier, they want to get Brock Bowers. The Jags want to get a wide receiver, and it's looking like it's Brian Thomas from LSU. The Rams, I could see going a handful of ways, but my gut says they want to go offensive line, and a lot of teams above the Rams also want to go offensive line, like the Saints. So they may try to jump New Orleans to get Olu Fashanu. And then the Eagles, they really are like one player away from, at least in their minds, being back in the Super Bowl. So they've got 2 second-rounders. They don't need that much quantity. They need quality. So I would not be blown away if Philly is aggressive in trying to move up so they can get the number 1 corner on their board, and that way they don't have to just settle for the second or third guy. I'm personally predicting a Rams trade-up. The Rams are famous for the phrase "F them picks." They're back in round 1, but I wouldn't be blown away if they decide to say "F them picks" for rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and use those picks they have to move up in round 1 and go get their guy, because I just don't think they like the draft. I think they want to get back to their LA beaches, and they want to hang out and hang out in the sun, and they don't want to be a part of the draft. They don't want to be stuffed up in a war room for 3 straight days. No, they enjoy not working during this time of the year. So I think the Rams could give up some later draft picks to try and get earlier in round 1, get their guy, and then go deuces, everyone. We'll see you all in round 4. So would you trade down or stay at number 12? Give me a T for trade or an S for stay. I would trade. I think it's a better outcome for Denver if they can go from 12 to like 15, 19, somewhere in that range right there, and pick up an extra top 50, top 55 pick, depending on where they move. I think that gives them a better draft class than just going 12 and waiting all the way to 76. That's going to do it for us on today's show, though. Thank you so much for tuning in. I always appreciate those of you that hang out with us. We're going to have a lot of fun on our round 1 coverage later on, so make sure to come back for our day 1 draft coverage.